Welcome. Sports Carnival broadcasting live from the Trauma Center studio, powered by the Recovery Room. Thanks to our friends at Kyle Cable, One Trust Real Estate, Preferred Insurance, and BetUS for also making this program go. The O'Neill Law Firm, and of course, Joe's Helping Hands Landscaping. Boys and girls, children of all ages. The Sports Carnival this morning, Matt, is going to be a ton of fun. We've got our good buddy John Papadopoulos from ESPN 105.5 jumping aboard with us at 8:30. You and I are going to go in sort of deep into Ice Cube getting dissed by Rolling Stone, where he is at in their top 50 rappers of all time is an absolute fucking travesty. And he's rightly upset about it, or at least I'm rightly upset about it for him.
Well, I agree with you 100% where we're going down this. If this is a rabbit hole that you and I want to go down together, brother, I am going.
We're going.
I'm going with you.
We're going.
If it is what it is. Top of the morning to everybody out there, our listeners, our viewers. Thank you for checking in with me and Dave, and I'm going to send it back to you. But yeah, I'm all in with you and Ice Cube, man. It's a travesty. It is honestly. It's a
national travesty, and we've got to exonerate our friend Ice Cube from the depths of his low
Today's going to be a good day.
Today's going to be a good day. We've got the Milwaukee Bucks on an absolute roll, boys and girls. They have won their 16th consecutive game after just annihilating the Orlando Magic last night. I want to tell you where this is in context to their best streak in their team history and what that actually could signify. We've also had something, I suppose, from Aaron Rodgers. He was on a podcast, a guy that I've never heard of before. I honestly can't remember what this dude's name was. I could check it out really quickly. Matt, and you do this.
I'll do that for you.
Find out.
You keep doing what you're good at, and I'll try to do the back end for you, brother.
Find out what the name of this guy was that he went on the podcast with. Cool looking setup, blazing fire. So we did hear a little bit from Aaron Rodgers, which is interesting. But we've got a lot of that, plus some betting angles to cover this morning with John Papadopoulos. Hope you guys are ready. It looks like Thomas from UWL may be turning 20 today because he sent us this birthday vibes, and it's going to be a fantastic day. Whoa! That's very nice, Thomas. It's good to see that you're up and at it this morning.
I got to throw a special shout out.
Got a lot of energy.
I don't know how this is possible. Kylie, thank you for checking in. Beautiful. You're up and at 'em. Good to see you too, honey.
Kylie's checking in this morning.
Checking in. It's a good day. So top of the morning, honey.
Smokes. All right. Well, now, Matt, you're going to get really nervous because you know that you've got Kylie watching you. Kylie.
Well, my dad's, I took out my dad yesterday, who is barely 18 years old. If you want to throw that out there for thank you down to Brittany, down to the place where they serve. I'll just say it's fucking waterfront.
I was going to say, you might as well just say it.
I mean, I was trying to be funny and at the same time that it wasn't coming up. But yeah, we had a great time. Took up my dad, my mom had a great time. We got into some other talks, and then my dad just unloaded on me. He's like, yeah, I try to listen every morning. So I'm trying to watch my F-bombs because I know my dad might be listening, but I'm sure my mom isn't still. So I'm good on that. And if your mom's listening, the other Cindy out there in the world that I love to death too, sorry about my F-bombs.
Yeah, they don't care. And I'm just curious if you actually went to bed last night after getting your father and this is something people aren't going to know because you're saying he's 18. You've got to put this in context. So
he's a leap year baby.
Yeah. So Matt used this pretty funny joke the other day on us in real time. And he said, my dad's just 17 3/4 now. And I said, wait, got it. He's a leap year baby. So
it's been his running joke for as long as my parents have been together since grade school. So my mom has heard this fucking joke over and over again, along with my older brother and my younger brother. So it's cringeworthy at sometimes. My mom got hit on last night by a gentleman, asked her about her perfume. Shout out to Jono. If you're listening, it was your mom's partner who said my mom smelled like an angel.
Okay.
It was a weird day. Weird night, Dave.
Today was a weird day.
It was a good day.
All right, there you go.
That's what I got for you, brother.
We've got Matt's dad's brother. So Dan, Matt's dad's birthday. Happy birthday, Dan. Glad that you guys had a good time out. I can tell that you've had a good day, and it's going to be a great day, like I've mentioned here on the program. I don't care what Rob Dog from Stoddard has to say. Rob, you're being a little chippy here with us this morning. I'm not even going to put your comment up on the screen, but you're being a little chippy. We're going to be happy today. It was Dan's birthday yesterday. We've got Thomas's birthday today from UWL. He's turning 20. Joey Miller, Mike Byers up and at it this morning. Fellas.
Fritz Leinfelder checking in from Captiva Island.
Ooh, I like that. Fritzy, top of the morning to you. Morning. You know what, Fritz? I tagged you in a Facebook post yesterday because we had Matt Janis on Tuesday, like we always do. And Matt revealed to us the superstar quarterback room that is going to be the Eagles quarterback room this upcoming season. Check that out. If you haven't seen it yet, I tagged you on Facebook, maybe on one of our other social media platforms, but check that out. Really good look at what the Eagles' new quarterback room is going to be like. So top of the morning to you from Captiva Island. Very good stuff there. Joe V is checking in, and he says he's off to Vegas. Look at that. Joe V's going to Vegas. Joe, we'll be out there with you. Well, not with you, but we'll be out there in April, as a matter of fact. And then, yes, my mother, Cindy, checking in. She says she loves you, too.
That's awesome.
Very nice.
We have Aubrey Marcus is the dude that did the interview, and he's a YouTuber. So other than that, he's got no credentials other than just basically.
Well, he's got Aaron on his show now.
Yeah, well,
that's a credential.
That doesn't mean a lot of shit to me and you. I guess.
Stop it. Are you kidding me? If Aaron came on this show, we'd have no fucking. We'd have no problems ever again. Love to talk to this guy.
I agree with you on that. I just don't know if you'd ever come on our show with the way
you
and I've been talking.
Of course not. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? Never.
It'd be good talk, brother. It'd be a good talk.
He'd never come on this show. He'd never grace us with this. He'd take our, 105 total viewers up to 105,000 total viewers. And that just, I don't think that he would want to do that. All right, we're going to step aside really quick. We've got the recovery room back open this morning at 11 o'clock. And guess what today it is? It is Euro Day. So if you want to come by, get spicy traditional Euros. I think we've got shaved prime rib on tap today as well. It's going to be one of those days. And guess who is going to be behind the bar with you at lunch? This guy right here. So when we come back, I want to talk Bucks. I want to roll out this morning's poll question, which has to do with the NBA, but it does not have to do with the Bucks. And at 8:30, as mentioned, John Papadopoulos, ESPN 105.5 is coming up with us. Take that, Rob Dog from Stoddard. What can I say? The Recovery Room on 7th and Mississippi Street is not only my favorite bar in all of downtown La Crosse, Wisconsin, it's my favorite restaurant in all of downtown La Crosse, Wisconsin. Breakfast served 8 to noon, Saturday and Sundays, daily specials, incredible cocktails, and the best damn wait staff in the entire city. My buddy Matt knows how to treat you right, and that's why when you go to the Recovery Room on 7th and Mississippi, you're always going to have a great time and a great meal with a great cocktail. So if you haven't been in a while, or perhaps you're just regular and you want to stop in again, make it a thing. I'm there every single week. How about you?
Hello, I am Don Francisco, and I roast and blend coffees for your pleasure and mine. My newest blend is Vanilla Nuts. The coffee so rich and so sweet, it tastes like the French Alps has dangled its in your cup of java. If you love coffee like I do, then you'll love Don Francisco's with a 135-year tradition. Because at Don Francisco's, if you're up all night, so are we.
Yes, the Sports Carnival broadcasting live from the Trauma Center studio just continues to get fired up here on a very, very nice Thursday. As a matter of fact, walked out this morning, and I'm not exactly sure where you might be watching or listening to us from. Not Captiva Island, because it's much nicer there. But if you're in the area, the general area of western Wisconsin, you walked outside this morning, it's very nice. It's very temperate. As a matter of fact, we got some rain, some snow recently, but today feels like it's going to be a real nice day. So hopefully you're off to a really good start as well. P1 Breacher says, be nice to my Bears and Viking fan friends. We will. We're going
nice to everybody.
We're going to be nice to them. Why wouldn't we want to be nice to them? Oh, wait, except for you want me to say something like the Bears still suck and the Vikings trophy case is empty. That makes guys like Jason Breacher pretty happy. As a matter of fact, I think right now he might even be touching himself. He might do a little cross nipple action.
I guess my point is that I'm used to what the Bears still suck and the Vikings still have an empty cabinet. It's just new. What did I say the other day to you when we had our gentleman check in? It's like, just come up with something new, some new, stand-up comedian. You need some new
material.
Yes, please. That's
so the Bears still suck thing. So basically we were in the bar a couple of days back working on Tuesday, and somebody mentioned the Bears still suck. And you said, look, you've got to come up with something fresher than that.
I'm okay with that. There's got to be something better. I mean,
okay.
Where I'm getting this is we can go back to what was it? George Wendt and the Bears, and Saturday Night Live, Chris Farley, all that stuff back in the day. That's where I think everybody is still stuck in their minds. The Dicka, and I'm get it, but Dicka's been gone forever. And
my God,
the Bears are. We
Okay.
can talk about grade. No, we can talk about we can talk about grades that came up yesterday and NFL report cards and everything else. But it is what it is. The Bears are the cheapest one of the cheapest goddamn fucking businesses in the NFL, and I love them to death. But it is what it is.
All right, I didn't realize they were so cheap, but it'll be interesting to see what grade they got.
How Virginia McCaskey is still alive, I don't fucking know. But God bless her soul if you believe in her.
There you go. I don't. Is she like Santa? Do you have to believe in her like Santa?
I just don't know her son, how she got through her sons who ran this fucking franchise into the ground, and she's still there every day. She's like the nun from what is it, St. Joe's or whatever it is. That's always.
I have no idea what we're talking about.
Sorry, brother.
Okay, you're talking about Loyola Chicago.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, all right. Okay, so Mike Byers is checking in this morning, and Maddie, you know what I used to call Mike Byers? He was our national calendar correspondent. Yep. He was also part of the two-man inflation calculation committee. Mike is up here with us this morning and saying, happy National Read Across America Day. Read Across America Day, the best investment you can make yourself. And reading, of course, is fundamental. I remember that commercial when I was a kid. Very, very good stuff. Unfortunately, nobody reads, and that's why, largely, Mike, the country is doomed because nobody reads. But that's for a different discussion, a different day. Who knows? Maybe I'll get into that kind of shit in my own overtime. For now,
is reading considered, is an audio book considered reading, Dave?
No, it's not.
Okay.
It is not. Nope. People don't read anymore. It's fine. It loses us all ability to have context and nuance, which is what it is. Regardless, we'll move on because we're talking about things that we watch. And the whole reading that you have to do is going to be encapsulated into a couple of paragraphs here because I've got the Bucs slide here for those that are watching us on our Facebook channels, YouTube, LinkedIn, Twitter, Twitch. And if you're listening to us, I'll do our best to just sort of explain to you. The Bucs beat the shit out of the Orlando Magic last night, 139-117. Not a big surprise. Orlando's not a good team, but the Bucs are on a 16-game winning streak. So they had a 15-game winning streak coming into last night. It's always tough to keep those streaks going because once you get over a certain number of wins, the target on your back becomes massive. The win that the Bucs got last night saw them hit 26 three-pointers. Okay, 26 of 56. That's incredible shooting, just under 50%. Grayson Allen, AJ Green, Joe Ingles, Brooke Lopez each sank 4 3-pointers. Giannis and Pat Connaughton each sank 3 3-pointers. Giannis scored 31 points during this victory last night against Orlando and did it with such ease that it really does. And again, I'll go back to my previous statement about Nikola Jokic, great player. Don't give this guy the third MVP in a row just because he's putting up on a PER basis, which is player efficiency rating basis, the best statistical season in NBA history. Let's not go crazy here.
You get the offensive award, not the
They
MVP.
don't have that.
I know, but that's where I'm going with
sure.
They don't have one. He doesn't deserve an all-around MVP. I'm agreeing with you.
He's just not good enough on defense. And this particular streak that the Bucs have, to put this back into my capsulated point, the streak that the Bucs have right now is near historic. The longest streak that the Bucs have ever had in their history is 20 games as far as a winning streak is concerned. That was in the 70-71 season. Guys, the Bucs went on to win the championship in 1971. So we've got this Milwaukee team right now as perfectly suited to be an NBA champion as I've ever seen. The team got so deep when they added Jay Crowder. The fact that they got to keep Grayson Allen, Bobby Portis coming off the bench. Chris Middleton, for God's sakes, isn't even 100% healthy right now. He's been coming off the bench. Brooke Lopez, who we talk about more this season than we have in probably the last 5 seasons. His defense is great. His three-point shooting is continuously improved, and he's actually rebounding at a higher clip this year. And then you've got Drew Holiday. You've got Giannis Antetokounmpo. This team is amazing. And when I look at how they beat teams like Orlando, they're not just limping to victories, beating a team like this by 2, 3, 4, 5 points, which sometimes happens because you're so good you can let your foot off of the brake or off of the gas, I should say a bit. This Bucs team is going all gas, no brakes. And last night, they absolutely rolled Orlando, and they did so from the very tip. Now, the next game for Milwaukee is going to be on Saturday. They'll be taking on the Sixers, who play tonight against the Dallas Mavericks. Dallas is not good with Luka and Kyrie Irving on the floor yet. They're not. They're not
figuring it out.
Yeah, and I don't know if they can because neither of those guys plays a lick of defense.
Yep.
And they both need the ball a ton in order to be effective. So we'll see. I think the Sixers win tonight, and we'll talk about that more on a betting perspective later. But that'll be the next opponent for the Bucs. Again, the longest winning streak in Bucs history is 20 games, 1970-71. The longest winning streak of recent history was 18 games, 2019-2020. That was another really successful, not championship, but really successful season for the Bucs. So when I'm looking at this team right now, I'm starting to step back. And again, no disrespect to Denver, Nikola Jokic. They're awesome in the Western Conference. But I'm looking at Milwaukee, and I'm saying to myself, this team is as perfectly poised to win a championship as I've seen in quite some time. They're just so deep. You've got superstar players in Giannis, Drew Holiday being superstars. And then you've got a guy, former All-Star in Chris Middleton, working himself back into shape. And off the bench, I like Chris Middleton. I think maybe they even keep him there. I don't know if listen, if I'm the Bucks and this is working, maybe we keep Chris Middleton on the bench because he brings that second unit a level of offense they just never have had. And that's a really, really good thing to have, a second unit player that can come in and get you 20-plus points.
He's the new microwave, possibly, I guess, with the way
it's a good call.
Coming off, and I can go with this, Dave, right off the bat, because I really like the fact that Jay Crowder's on the team. He's basically Giannis's enforcer. Not that Giannis needs an enforcer if you really need one, but I mean, Jay Crowder is a bad, bad man. What I really enjoy about this is how the NBA, and you've been educating me and getting me more around in the NBA with how it goes and how these kids go from team to team. If you think about it, they played against each other the last time the Bucks won the championship when they were with the Suns.
You're talking about Jay Crowder?
Jay Crowder, yeah, when he was with the Suns. And they didn't like each other very much when that game went down, if you went through that. And now they're playing together, and it just seems like this is one of the best things. And for me, looking as a novice NBA fan, obviously I do follow the Bucks, but overall, this is a hell of a lineup, and they're going to be fun to watch.
Yeah, they're a great team to watch. Again,
even though I hate Grayson Allen, but it is what it is.
I could care less about what happened in college. I know that some Wisconsin fans are like, "Oh, Duke, who fucking cares? If he plays good in the NBA, I'm for it." And by the way, if you can't get Bucks games at home, come to the recovery room. We've got you covered for all of the Bucks action, every single game on one of our beautiful, beautiful flat screen TVs. Eric from La Crescent checking in and saying the Bucks are on fire. They absolutely are. Rob Dog is checking in as well, talking about the Knicks being a playoff team. Eric from La Crescent went on to say this, though. The Knicks are fifth, but no one cares because the Bucks are undefeated in the second half, right? I wouldn't say no one cares. The Knicks are starting to make some real noise here. They are. They're starting to make some real noise. I don't think that the Knicks are going to be a team that in the postseason is going to be able to get the better of Boston, Milwaukee, Philly, Miami, Philadelphia, maybe Philadelphia, but mostly I don't think they could get over the top three teams. But the Knicks are an interesting play right now. Let me transition us, though, to the Western Conference, because I'm sure that he's listening. He can't check in because he's driving. And we've been talking about this off air a bit. Neil Duda, who actually won our first gift certificate we were giving away here on the show to the Recov. I know he listens, and he's a Phoenix Suns fan. So last night, Phoenix got Kevin Durant back. He scored 23 points, had 6 rebounds, I want to say, in about 27 minutes. Mm-hmm. Is Kevin Durant and the Phoenix Suns, are they now the team to beat in the NBA's West? The way that you can answer this is yes by far or not just yet. 87.5% of respondents on our Twitter feed say not just yet. Looking over at our Facebook group page, which continues to grow, very excited about this. We want to get to 400 members in the next week or so. And one of the ways that we're going to entice you to do that is to register to win some free money to the Recov, which we've got up for you right now on the Facebook group page. Back to our poll question, though, 84-16 saying no, not just yet. So, listen, the NBA shakeup, which I know sometimes you have a hard time wrapping your mind around and how these guys go from team to team. If you're an NBA fan, you kind of get used to this, but the NBA shakeup with KD and getting the first glimpse of this last night was pretty interesting. They were a really good, not as good as the Bucks were against the Magic, but a really good team last night. I think KD makes it an interesting Phoenix Suns team. I don't know if they're necessarily the best, though, in the West right now, because as much as I don't think Nikola Jokic deserves a third straight MVP, when, again, we're talking about the only players in the history that have gotten multiple MVPs, they have championships. You can't get 3 without a fucking championship. But the point is, I still give Denver a lot of credit for the way that they've played, but Phoenix to me is coming up. I just knew this was going to be a hot question because the Suns are going to be making a lot of TV appearances. Kevin Durant's going to make this a really interesting watch, and we'll see.
Where are you on the Kings?
The Kings are an interesting watch too. They're a good surprise team. They are.
Yeah. Do you think they have a chance
to do what?
And go anywhere in the West?
No.
So I mean, obviously we've been talking about LeBron. They're outside looking in. Brought up Djokovic. I mean,
they're number one. Yep.
So I guess if we talked to Boston and I'm going East and West. What is the one team in your opinion in the West that scares the shit out of you if the Bucks make it to the championship?
The Suns.
That's it.
Probably.
Yep. I guess that's where I'm at.
Probably the Suns. If the Warriors were fully healthy, maybe them. Maybe.
Okay.
But I don't really think the Bucks, to me, they don't really have a team they need to be scared of. I really don't believe that. I would say Phoenix, though, if Kevin Durant is playing the way that he can play them.
But they're not that. I guess you have Ayton, you have Booker,
obviously
Chris Paul, but Durant. But after that, it was like
that's a pretty good foursome.
But it was also like watching. That's Joey Blatz checking in. Thanks for checking in, Joey. But I guess I'm going back to with Brooklyn. The new Nets played against the Bucks. What was that, 2 days ago, where they just tried to run the starters the entire game, and it just you have to have a bench at some point in the NBA. And I'm just wondering if in your opinion, are the Suns deep enough outside of those four guys and everybody being healthy? Are they really that scary?
Well, the depth could be a concern for sure. I mean, when you've got that kind of talent, though, in the top four players in the playoffs, again, everything sort of shrinks, right? Your rotations become smaller. You're not going 10 deep. You're going 8 deep. I don't know if I would really worry about their depth. If Kevin Durant can play great basketball and they merge really well together, I think that's a scary one. But you do want to be able to roll out multiple guys, and God forbid somebody gets an injury, which has been the recent history of both KD and Chris Paul, even Devin Booker.
What would, in your opinion, be the worst injury on that team of those four?
Kevin Durant.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, he's just that good. So I'm not sure. Was this Joey Blatz checking in saying Pat Connaughton is an all-time slam dunk contest snub? White men can jump. I like that. Well, listen, this whole dunk contest, it might change a bit here because that Matt McClung, who is still playing in the G League right now, he really set that thing on fire. So we'll see.
He had a 10-day with the Sixers. I don't know if
he's
still up there.
No, he's in the G League right now.
Back down G League.
Yeah.
And also, I'm going to throw this out there, Joey and David, and I got this, I think it was last week. Don't go watch the new White Men Can't Jump. It looks absolutely
God, I can't
horrible.
even imagine that. Yep. All right, I've got a transition question here from Joey Miller. Joey's checking in with us here this morning on our YouTube feed. Joey, top of the morning to you, big guy. Joey, of course, part of that back-to-back Aquinas Blue Golds, or at least he was part of the first Aquinas Blue Golds state championship a couple of years ago, is asking us if John Morant is going to go to jail for beating up that kid. All right, I'm actually glad that you brought this up, Joey, because I'm not sure, Matt, if you've heard anything about this.
I have not.
Okay, so John Morant last year got in an altercation, apparently, again, this is allegedly, at a mall, where allegedly a kid said that he threw a basketball at him and then punched him. This is all allegedly something that is being brought up against John Morant. So first of all, Joey, I would say a hard no for John Morant beating up this kid because this is allegedly, we don't even know if that was true. The second thing is Matt Euler sent something to me that he got on, I don't know what social media platform. And the caption was, John Morant's going to jail. He got arrested without bond. He's going to jail for this. And I asked him, Matty Ice, where did you get this fucking fake news? Like, where did you get this?
The Daily Beast or something?
No, he texted me back, to New York Post and all this. And I said, Matt, did you even read the article?
Yep.
It doesn't say anything about John Morant being arrested. And this goes back to our earlier conversation point about nobody reading. Sometimes, guys and gals, you see these things and it's on Facebook or it's on Twitter, it's LinkedIn, and you're like, whoa, look at this headline. This is a headline. Okay, pump the brakes, read the story.
Slow your roll.
Also go to a couple other spots and see if that's real. Yeah. Because I told Matty Ice, this is fake news shit. And he says, well, it still doesn't look good for him. That's not the point. The point is you got duped into something that was factually inaccurate. You were looking at something without any sort of background information and trying to share said information with me. Thankfully, I'm not a rube, and I get it, right? I see something like this, and I'm like, okay, hold on a second, fella. Where'd you get the information? And I'm not trying to pick on you, Matt, but this thing, it comes up here with Joey. Be very careful about spreading disinformation and misinformation. Just because you see a headline and something looks really official, man, that's a cool tweet. Look at how good the graphics are. That doesn't mean it's real. That does not mean it's real. So I caution you to go too far with these things. But to your actual question, Joey, is he going to jail for beating up that kid? I would seriously doubt it. This is a rich person in America. How many times do rich people in America actually get in trouble for things? Very rarely. And what precedes them actually getting in trouble for something? Generally, large-scale financial crimes like cheating on your taxes or embezzling too much money from the wrong people like Bernie Madoff. Mostly rich people get away with everything.
Unless you're O.J. Simpson. Yeah, if this is actually true, I'm looking at this right now. Supposedly you got the Job punched this kid 12 to 13 times during a pickup game. I don't know if this is true or not going ahead. Who knows?
It was supposedly at a mall. There was some listen, again, this thing happened.
That's my point. You never
last year.
Yeah, that's my point. It's going to end up in a civil suit if it ends up in anything. And who cares? I mean, and once again, Dave, this is where I was going to, I'm going to coddle your balls and throw this to you. And John's coming on pretty soon.
You coddling balls here, huh?
No, I appreciate. And
yesterday you came on my couch.
Yeah.
And now you're going to coddle my balls.
Yeah. Okay. We'll go down that road. We'll go down to Angela White if we want to go down that in her appendix if you have to. But my point to this is that you make this feel so natural to me. And that was my question, or one that I want to ask John when he comes on in a couple of minutes is, this is something that I very care about. I know it's I went to school for this way back in the day, but coming on with you make it feel so natural because it's just something you're very good at. It goes back to this. When I come on with you, I make sure I go through my websites. I make sure I don't have any stupid effing news where I'm at. Go through it, make sure it's real, make sure it's true, because I don't want to be that one guy to come out there and be like, hey, I just embarrassed the shit out of you or myself or anybody else. So it's just one of those things that make sure when you read your shit, double check it twice, 3 times, 4 times. Don't believe everything you read on Wikipedia, everybody. That's rule number 1.
Yeah, it's always up to us to be, and I mean the consumer of information, and this is, whether it's bought or it's just found, it's up to us to be able to sift through
the bullshit.
Yes, and really sort of take account of what on a larger scale proves out to be true. Again, I'm not trying to go too hard on Matty Ice because I get that he saw a meme or something on a social media site and thought, okay, cool, we're going to have to take this and run with it. But my problem with stuff like that is just what I go back to without reading, the inability for us to capture nuance and also the gray area. What we don't know about what happened with John Morant, I would say we're probably all in concert with. We don't know anything. Now, what we've read about this, again, from a couple of different newspapers, the New York Post, these things are accounts according to one person. This does not mean it's A, true, or B, anything is going to come of it. So that said, it really becomes it's a disservice to other people when you send them that kind of shit because it's not true. And if it's not true, you sort of propagate this false narrative that, again, I don't blame people for getting caught up in stuff because it's easy and it's salacious and it's fun, but it's also not right. And when it's not right, you don't do yourself any favors by believing that stuff.
I agree with you 100%. The first thing that came to my mind is Michael Irvin. With all the shit that's going on with supposedly what happened. I mean, all this crap that's going on, we don't know what's true. We don't know what's not. Let's not jump to conclusions. Let's figure out what's going on. And I really want to see how this shit, I'm interested to see how this shit plays out with Michael Irvin because he's suing the Marriott and there's some shit that happened. The shit with John Morant's going to happen. Whether it happens or not, whether it's true or not, just let it play out. Let's not jump to any conclusions and let's just let the shit come out as it plays.
Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and tell you now. I don't know if I can be a legal predictor too much, but I can almost guarantee you 100% John Morant's going to get into no substantive trouble for this.
I agree with you on that.
I can almost guarantee you 100%. All right, I'm going to take this because Rob Dog he's really being chippy this morning. Rob, who pissed in your Cheerios today? Because he, first of all, had some besmirching comments about somebody who we don't even need to mention here. And now he's going on a real rant against Aquinas and says this: Aquinas is not a legit state champ in any sport. Every other school in the area would have had the hammer dropped on him for athletes from other states. So I say we should bring back the WISSA. Rob, what are you talking about? Like, what are you talking about? This is high school sports, bro. And just because you live in Stoddard and you went to DeSoto doesn't mean that Aquinas isn't a legit state champion. It's a high school sport, okay? And in Wisconsin, there's a thing called school choice, meaning parents can choose what schools they want to send their kids to. There are plenty of kids in Stoddard that go to Central. They don't all go to DeSoto. That's not something they all do. Rob, you live around people who go to a different school than you, bro. It's no big deal. And I really find it just fascinating, the vitriol that surrounds a high school. This is children's sports here. Let's not go too far or too hard on these kids. And Aquinas is as legitimate of a state champion as anybody else. Rob, come on, baby. You're better than this. All right, you know who else is better than this? John Papadopoulos. He would never get into the fray of calling Aquinas not a legit state champion. When we come back here on the Sports Carnival, ESPN 105.5's The Sports Lead host, John Papadopoulos, will jump aboard the Sports Carnival. Stay tuned. We're back in about 40 seconds. Now more than ever, if you're looking to buy or sell your first home or perhaps an investment property, you need a full-time dedicated real estate agent who is up to date on all the latest trends and analysis and is ready to give you the kind of service that you deserve. That's why the official real estate agent and the official real estate partner of the Sports Carnival is Kyle Cable of OneTrust Real Estate. Whether you're looking to buy or sell your first home or perhaps you are a seasoned investor, call the official real estate agent partner of the Sports Carnival, Kyle Cable of OneTrust Real Estate.
I can't stop laughing.
My man, Kyle Cable.
Oh, I can't stop laughing. Sorry, Dave.
That's good. It's good. Hopefully you're having a great time out there watching the Sports Carnival on our Facebook channels, YouTube, Twitter, Twitch, or even LinkedIn. I'm Dave. That's Matt. We're broadcasting from the Trauma Center studio, powered by the Recovery Room, and Kyle Cable, OneTrust Real Estate. That is my man. Sold my house in Stoddard in literally 2 business days. Now, of course, the closing took a little bit longer, but that's how quick and effective he was. Our good friends over at Preferred Insurance, Tony Rausa, Brian Sandmeyer, are doing great things, giving you the best insurance rates and coverages from the biggest companies. I went over for a quote yesterday, and as a matter of fact, we're going to start getting a link here from Brian and Tony, and we'll put this up on our social feeds. We'll put it up on our website. When you get a quote from Preferred Insurance, it's going to also really help the Sports Carnival. Joining the program, ESPN 105.5's host of the Sports Lead, Monday through Friday, 3 to 6 p.m. I'll actually be joining him today at 4:15. John Papadopoulos back with us. Pop, top of the morning. How you doing today, bud?
Hey guys, good. I'm doing all right. How are you guys doing?
Yeah, we're doing great, man. We're doing great. Anytime we can get a break from cold weather in February in Western Wisconsin, we're happy for it. Aaron Rodgers has emerged from darkness and went on some guy's podcast yesterday. I wish he would come on some of our stuff. That would be fantastic. And the Milwaukee Bucks are on a near historic streak right now, picked up their 16th victory in a row. Pop, let's start with Rodgers and the emerging from the darkness. We talked about Brian Gutekunst yesterday on the program after his comments at the scouting combine didn't necessarily lend themselves to 100% all-in committal to Aaron Rodgers. Then Rodgers talks about this yesterday, again on some guy's podcast in front of a beautiful fire, that he'll make a decision, quote, soon enough. Reading between the lines, and not any direct knowledge specifically, but reading in between the lines, and in your experience, Pop, do the Packers want Rodgers back? And does Rodgers want to be a Packer anymore?
Well, let me say this. I'll answer the question, but remember a month ago, Rodgers said, in a couple of weeks, I'll have an answer. And then back at the end of the season, he said, I'm not going to hold the team hostage. I don't think so deep down. You know, I'm basing that largely on a lot of the people I've talked to that are in the building and maybe have a little bit more direct connection. But my guess is they don't. But I also believe if Rodgers goes to them and says, I want to come back, it's going to morph into, okay, we'll have you back, but under certain conditions. And then it turns into are you going to run Matt LaFleur's offense? Are you going to show up for the OTAs or at least some of them? I can see something like that happening. And then I don't know how he'll react. He might say, no, I don't want to do any of that stuff. Let's work out a trade. But I also think there are different levels of, do they want him back? I don't think it's a matter of we absolutely unequivocally want him gone and we think Jordan Love's ready and we want to save, the long-term cap money, which they would. They'd have to take the $40 million cap hit this year, but they could save in the future. I think on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being they want no part of him, 1 being they would do anything to keep him, it's probably about a 5. I think it's somewhere in the middle. So I think if he really wants to play, that might up their wanting to have him back, because remember, they've actually got leverage this time. They can say to him, we got a guy, you have to play by our rules now, sort of thing. So I think there are a lot of nuances to this conversation when it happens. I don't think it's a hard, do you want to come back or not? Or do we want you back or not? It's under what conditions. And we may never know how that conversation plays out. But I think that's the conversation that's about to happen.
Guys, for the first time in I think my reckoning with Aaron Rodgers or even the contemplation of what his future would be, for the first time, I'm actually starting to think that retirement is really on the table. And I know this sounds completely counterintuitive because even Rodgers said yesterday he felt retirement sort of scared him. But I don't know that Aaron Rodgers, to your point, John, wants to do any of that. I don't know that he wants to show up for OTAs. I don't know that he wants to be a part of that. And whether it's the Green Bay Packers fellas or it's the New York Jets or it's the Las Vegas Raiders or whomever would be willing to give up assets to get Aaron Rodgers back, I would want some at least semi-commitment from Rodgers that he will be a part of this process, because I don't understand how it would be diametrically any different to go to the New York Jets, a team that you have no familiarity with. You don't know the offensive playbook. I understand you're a superstar quarterback, but you don't know these wide receivers. So if it takes you all this time to get familiar with guys, young guys especially, how does going to any of these teams outside of the Raiders with perhaps Devontae Adams, how does any of that really benefit Aaron Rodgers? And I can't see that it does. I feel like Rodgers has put himself and painted himself into a little bit of a corner here because he's showing himself to be X kind of football player. And when you need Y, you might decide to make that pivot. If Derek Carr gets a job here in the next couple of days, this could really set Aaron Rodgers' future trajectory on a completely different course.
Yeah, I would say this, though. You bring up a good point about Devontae. There's some comfort there, but I think there's similar comfort in Nathaniel Hackett with the Jets. I do think that. But I also think, as you mentioned, the Jets could sign Derek Carr. It does sound like they're waiting now on the Rodgers decision. But, when push comes to shove, I think a lot of these teams we're talking about would prefer to keep a first round or multiple high picks than bring in a 39-year-old guy who might play 1 year. The Jets could be an exception to that because their defense is ready-made. They've got a really good young running back if he's healthy. Garrett Mitchell, Garrett Wilson at wide receiver. I could see the Jets saying we're a quarterback away and we'll take a shot even if it's for a year or two. But the Raiders don't sound like they want him. The general manager of the Raiders and the owner, Mark Davis, very much seem in the we're going to rebuild. We're probably going to draft a quarterback this year. They've got a high enough pick. And they might even wait a couple of years. The Raiders are in no rush. Mark Davis is the opposite of his father. He's kind of like, hey, whatever it takes. If it takes 2 years to develop Anthony Richardson, let's draft him. And we'll wait 2 or 3 years. I don't think the Raiders are in the win now mode anyway. So I don't know if I would. I think Devontae wants Rodgers, so that picked up some steam. But I'm not sure the Raiders do. I don't think Rodgers wants to go play in Tennessee. They don't have any receivers. The Colts don't have any players, so I don't think those. I think the best option for Rodgers would be Miami because the receivers there are dynamic, 2 of them. The defense is pretty good. I've said on my show before, you have a young offensive coach that I think he would mesh with a little bit, even personality-wise. I could see that. Oh, my cat's in the show here. Is that there we go.
That's a common theme this week.
Yeah.
So he looks pretty comfortable too, doesn't he? Oh,
yeah, we've got an orange cat that hangs around the Trauma Center studio too. So,
oh, really? Oh,
yeah, it is on a Monday too.
They could be friends, maybe.
Maybe. We'll show them to each other. See how it works.
But I think Miami would be a very good fit. The only problem with Miami is they don't have a first round pick, and the following year they don't have a 3rd or 4th rounder, so they might not want to give up their first round pick that year. So. Right now, I sort of agree with the sentiment you're saying, Dave, is I don't know how many options there's going to be, but all it takes is one. And if it's the Jets, and I think they could be in play, I also would not rule out Bill Belichick getting into this thing if it really comes down to it. He doesn't mind giving up draft picks. He's toward the end of the line as well as a head coach. I mean, Bill's not going to coach for 10 more years, I don't think. So, he may be thinking, I want to get one without Brady, and Rodgers is thinking, I want to get one more too to solidify my legacy. So that might be a good match. So I think New England and the Jets could get in this thing. But if I had to say right now, the more I think about it, the more I think that Aaron walks in that door and says, I want to stay here. I know the team, I know the culture, and then they're going to have a choice to make.
Listen, I tend to largely agree in a lot of different fashions. Matt and I were talking about this yesterday. I do think that Rodgers could, and this could be more of a business than a personal want, desire decision for him. This could come down to just dollars and cents and where he actually gets to go and play. I could see the Packers, even though, Matt, you disagreed with me, giving him a shot and saying, great, cool, you can come in here. If it's not working, by week 6, week 7, we're benching you because this is the final year of your career. And you say, how can you bench somebody that makes that much money? It's happened before. It has happened before.
Listen, I brought that up on my show yesterday. I don't know if I'd give them 6 weeks. What I think they would do, and basically I'm saying the same thing. And it was, on the show, it was like, okay, I might get struck by lightning for saying this because we hadn't really brought it up before. But let's say that Aaron comes in and says, I want to stay. It's a comfort zone. It's a legacy thing too. Not a lot of guys play on one team. How many guys do that? All-time greats.
Very few.
Elway did it. Marino did it. Then you got to go to like Kobe in the NBA, Derek Jeter.
Tim Duncan. Sure.
Very few. Is a good one. Very few guys do this. So if he says, I want to stay, and the Packers say, okay, we need you to run Matt's offense, though. We need you to run the offense. And we'd like you. I don't know if legally they can tell him he's got to be at OTAs because it's, but if they sort of imply we want you to be there, I can see Rodgers saying, you got it. Because that's how he is. Rodgers is a little bit of a conniver. I mean, we've heard him lie before, in many instances, even when he doesn't have to lie. So I can see him saying, sure, I'll do what you want. And then he gradually, it's like a child that says, I promise I'll be okay. And then they start fading, very gradually toward their old behavior. But the difference is, and I said this on our show yesterday, now if he starts to fade and run a vogue offense and, go rogue and run his own offense, they can say, listen, we got a guy on the bench who can play too. So there's a different sort of leverage. I don't know if they bench him, but the threat of them being able to bench him now for Jordan Love, he might have to actually adhere to the offense and run it.
Well, and there's something else to consider, guys, with Rodgers, and I hadn't thought that this would potentially be a scenario that would emerge, but as we're talking about it, it rings as possible now. If they trade Rodgers after June 1st, which wouldn't be the ideal time to trade Rodgers, but if they trade Rodgers after June 1st, fellas, the cap hit goes to like $15.8 million. It goes from 48 some million to about 15.8 million.
Let me jump in on that. I that's true. That is the case, but I don't think that's as good as it sounds because either way, you got to pay the $40 million. The rest of it, they have to pay the next year. So I mean, put it this way. If it were me, and I don't know what the Packers think, if it were me and I was going to start with Jordan Love next year, I would just rather have get the whole $40 million out of the way next year. Sure. You're not winning anyway with Jordan Love. And then the following season in 24, now Jordan Love's in year 2. Now you're really ready to win. I'd rather have the cap space then. You're right. I mean, you could shave a bunch off, but what are you shaving it off for if you're gonna win 8 games anyway with Jordan Love?
Well, and free agency would already be well behind him at that time, so exactly. that wouldn't do a lot. Okay, so maybe we've talked me out of that thought, and I see now why, John. I wasn't thinking that was a possibility because it doesn't make a ton of sense. Needless to say, the Rodgers saga for us Packer fans and for us that do this type of a program, it does give us a lot of fuel for fire. And there are a lot of different ways in which we can look at this. We'll keep our tabs on this, of course. And John Papadopoulos joining us from ESPN 105.5's The Sports Lead, 3 to 6, Monday through Friday here on ESPN 105.5. I'll be jumping aboard tonight at 4:15. Matt has got a couple of questions, John. We've been adding a new wrinkle into some of our guest interviews. These questions are sometimes unconnected to sports in any meaningful way. Sometimes they merge into sports questions.
Let's do it.
Are you willing to take a dive and go 5? Okay, random questions.
Sure.
Go for it, Matt.
I have 5 random questions for you, and if I get time for you, top of the morning for you, to you, John, as well. I guess I do have one football question for you, if we can get to that before we cut you out, depending on time. But I'm going to go with this: if you're on a beach, what are you most likely to drink? A pina colada, a margarita, or a daiquiri?
Ooh.
A bottle of water.
A bottle of water.
Yeah. I'm not, I like a beer once in a while, but I don't go that direction. I'm not a big drinker, guys. I know
there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that.
I go with a bottle of water. I mean, maybe a beer. If you
so you're the one, beer, you're the one guy in Wisconsin.
Yeah.
We knew there was one guy. Okay.
Yeah,
all right.
All right. John, how about this one? The first album or CD you remember buying?
Oh God. I've got it down to 2. I was pretty young. I believe it was Thriller, Michael Jackson.
Nice.
This one's not nearly as exciting, but Billy Joel and Innocent Man. I don't know why. I think I was like 8 and I liked the song, and my parents. But I think it was Thriller. I think Thriller.
That's awesome.
It was one of those 2. I remember having both of those as a very small child. But Thriller, I listened to over and over and over and over again. I won't get into any more detail. I attempted the moonwalk.
It was a great record. It was a great record at the time.
Well, I guess, John, on that music note, if you had to, what's your 1-2 go-to karaoke song?
I think Friends in Low Places, if I had to do it.
Okay.
Because I know it, and Garth Brooks, and I mean, now nobody wants to hear me sing. I promise you that. But that would be that one. I think I'd go with that one because I know the words, and it's even if you're a horrible singer like me, you can kind of make it work. I think that's right.
Always talk your way through it a little bit. I hear you on that. All right. Number 4. Here we go, sir. Your favorite summertime leisure vehicle. Are you going to be in a golf cart or on a boat?
I love both. Love both, but I'd probably go with a golf cart.
And your handicap, John, how you doing?
Used to be 17, 18. Don't play much anymore. I'm probably higher, although I'm not registered anymore. I'm probably closer to a 20 now. So I've never been great, but I used to be respectable.
Yeah, I'm like, my handicap is like an 82. So if you can spot me 82 strokes, I just might be able to stay with you.
And I guess I have one more for you. I don't know how much time we have to ask you on the a question about the Packers, but your favorite non-sports movie, John?
I would say Shawshank Redemption.
Ooh, nice.
Jumps out to me. I got another one I love is Good Will Hunting.
Very good as well.
I think those just jump out. If I an hour from now, I'll think of some more when it's too late. But I would say those two jump out to me.
So, John, I love the Good Will Hunting edition because that's also a great bar movie. We were going through the list of, like, off the top of our head, movies that either had situations or were largely acted in bars. And Good Will Hunting, there's actually quite a bit of bar scenery in that movie. So I like that one too. Shawshank's one of my favorite movies and one of my favorite Stephen King short stories of all time as well. That was just so well done on screen. So well done. All right, Pop. Well, listen, we appreciate your time this morning. Thanks for joining us again. We'll be talking to you later this afternoon at 4:15. John Papadopoulos, host of ESPN 105.5.
Hey, I've got a quick tease here. I'm not going to say what it is, but I've got an interesting question for you about the NCAA tournament that I thought about it last night, and I said, I got to save this one for Dave. I was going to bring it up on the show yesterday, and I said, I'm going to save this for Dave. It's a little out there,
okay,
but I think you're the guy to ask the question to. That's all I'm going to say right now. So
I love this.
4:15, we'll have that discussion.
Well, I love this, and John, I can't wait to talk to you later today. Thanks again for coming on. Appreciate you, and we'll catch up real soon, buddy.
All right, guys. Thank you.
See ya.
See ya.
Preferred Insurance is the official auto, home, business, flood, and life insurance agency of the Sports Carnival, serving folks in La Crosse and surrounding areas with licenses in Wisconsin, Minnesota, and Iowa. As an independent insurance agency, Preferred Insurance is free to find the very best insurance for you, your family, or your business needs. Call my friends at Preferred Insurance today and set up a free consultation. Remember, working with an independent agency means Preferred Insurance works for you, with you, to find the best solutions at the best prices.
Welcome back. Sports Carnival, broadcasting live from the Trauma Center studio, continues to be powered by some of our great friends here in La Crosse and surrounding areas. Kyle Cable, One Trust Real Estate, BetUS. You see that ticker rolling across the bottom of your screen if you're watching us. You go to betus.com, enter promo code CARNIVAL, get 125% free play money on deposit. Preferred Insurance, Tony and Brian, you're best for auto, for flood, for home, and for business insurance. I went over yesterday. Matt got a quote from them to combine both John and I's insurance together. Really great quote. And coming up soon, we'll have links that we'll be able to share with you guys here on the program that will get you over to a quote system for Preferred Insurance. Just see what they can do. Not to say that you have to make a transition, but see what they can do. It's often
options.
You know what? It's often the options that you don't know that are out there that turn out to be some of the best ones. And again, that is Preferred Insurance. Our good buddy Sean O'Neill at the O'Neill Law Firm, playing a little phone tag here recently with Sean, but I need some help with paperwork. And Sean is not only our official attorney here, but just an all-around great guy. He's helped me with a couple of different situations in which I needed some advice from him and he was able to really quickly and swiftly navigate me through some pretty tricky situations. So thanks again to Sean O'Neill, 5th Street in downtown La Crosse. I'm not sure what 2023 Hemi 6.3
This is Paul Weber checking in. He's got a hair of the dog Heineken. Come on. He's got a couple things for us. I'm not really sure who he's going with. It was a NASCAR
and who
flag.
does UWL play? Who is that one?
That's still Paul. That's still the same.
In what sport?
Yeah, I guess is he asking us about basketball?
Well, basketball's over.
Yeah, so I'm not really sure what. Yeah.
I mean, basketball might not be over if UW gets an at-large bid.
Well, we don't have that information yet, Paul. So
yeah,
I'm not
really
sure what you're.
When does UW? Well, what sport? Because softball's going on right now. I think we've got some indoor track and field.
He also did hair of the dog, so I'm not. Really
I thought
sure.
he was doing that as far as the karaoke song.
Okay, I could see that. I guess I'm not really sure where he's. Once again, this is why text messages and also don't read everything online because it's not all true, and it's kind of hard for us to figure out where you're coming from there, Paul.
Well, I think maybe hair of the dog goes with John Papadopoulos saying that he didn't drink much, and he's saying, Heineken, come on, we've got that. Hair of the dog meaning to have another drink after a drink, perhaps on the morning after. I'm not sure.
Last time you had a Heineken?
Oh, gosh, recently, within the last couple of weeks.
Really?
Yeah, I love Heineken. Why not? Oh, it smells so good. It smells like stanky. Smells like stanky Stacks Family Farms brand.
God damn it, we're good
products.
at this shit.
It's not my first rodeo. Joey Miller checking in with us again here, Maddie, saying the Wild and Kings money lines. He likes them both plus 125 tonight. That's kind of cool. I don't think that's necessarily a bad play. The Wild have been really good on their recent point streak. So I think they're 6-0-1 in their last 7 games. The Kings money line I will bring up now because the Kings are one of few teams. Oh, you must be talking the Los Angeles Kings. Okay, because I was like, the Kings would be one of a few teams in action tonight in the NBA. But I guess you're talking about hockey. Okay, perfect. Got you there, Joey. In the NBA tonight, and I'll be talking about some of these games coming up this evening on John Papadopoulos' ESPN 105.5 show. In the NBA tonight, only 4 games. So we've got a pretty light schedule. Golden State is a 3.5-point favorite, or 3.5-point dog against the Clippers. The Clippers, though, have not been good since they acquired Russell Westbrook. They have not been good. The Spurs and the Pacers are playing in San Antonio. Indiana, a 5-point favorite. The Spurs are just awful. I mean, they are just simply awful. 15-47 on the season right now. The Pacers are 5-point favorites. The Mavericks and the Sixers. This is an interesting game. So this one will be on TNT tonight. The Mavericks have only won 1 game when Luka and Kyrie Irving have been on the floor together.
Is that true?
1 game.
Oh my God.
They've won 1 game since they've been on the floor together. Now, they've been playing close, but they had a 27-point lead against the Lakers. They watched that all evaporate, and they lose to the Lakers. They also lost a recent game. I want to say that was to Miami. I'm going to check on this again, but they lost that game by a couple of points. That was, to the Pacers. So they lost to the Lakers 111-108. Then they lose to the Pacers 124-122. Look, the Philadelphia 76ers are coming in off of a win against the Miami Heat. That's who I was thinking about. Joel Embiid didn't play. He should be back. Joel Embiid was getting, I think he was considered day-to-day for general soreness. Basically, he was taking load management. I know that Dallas has got to win at some point. And you see the BPI on your screen, Basketball Power Index, says the Dallas Mavericks have a 63% chance to win this. I don't know. I think that Luka and Kyrie, together are not a pair that you can trust, especially down the stretch. And this might take some time. Maybe it takes them a few weeks. Maybe it takes them the rest of this season. Who gets the ball at the end of the game? Because that's one of the reasons that they've lost some of the games that they have lost recently. They don't know who gets the ball at the end of the game. They don't play enough defense. And I'm not entirely sure who on that team, considering that Joel Embiid should play tonight, I'm not entirely sure who guards that guy. The other thing for Philadelphia is this, and I talked about it last week with John Papadopoulos. They've got to make a real push here if they want to keep themselves in the top 3, because Miami's coming. The New York Knicks, Rob Dogg, who is very angry this morning from Stoddard, loves the New York Knicks. They're making a push up the standings. So Philly needs this game as a 3.5-point dog. I kind of like Philly in this one. The money line, plus 140, that presents some good value. I might take a flyer on Philadelphia on the money line, Philadelphia minus the points. I'll work this out in full detail later this evening, like I've mentioned, at 4:15 with John Papadopoulos, but that's a game I'm looking at. The other one that we've got this evening is Washington-Toronto. The Raptors are a 1.5 favorites. Washington's been playing some plucky basketball this year, even without Johnny Davis, who's still playing in the G League. I think Toronto comes out on top. They're 31-32. The Wizards 29-32, but we'll see. There's limited action tonight in the NBA. The next game for the Bucks, as I mentioned, is going to be on Saturday, and they will be playing the Miami Heat on Saturday, or actually the Sixers on Saturday. We'll pull this back up. Yeah, they're playing the Sixers on Saturday, 7:30 p.m. on ABC. So that's going to be a primetime game on ABC on Saturday. A big spot there for the Milwaukee Bucks. Again, Milwaukee on a 16-game winning streak right now. This team is as good as I've ever seen them. And that should be scary for the rest of the NBA because this team has been great over the last 4 years. This Bucks team now, Matt, is as good as I have seen them. I'm really excited for what the rest of the season and the playoffs have in store for Milwaukee.
I'm just really excited to see how this is going to all play out. Obviously, with Crowder being on the team, so you have we already talked about how Giannis is just a big badass. He plays both ends of the court. He can defend, play. Obviously, we see what he can do when he's healthy. When it comes to the end of the game, if there's anybody backing anybody down, it's going to be Giannis taking to the hole. I love what Lopez is doing. I honestly think Giannis is learning how to shoot a three-pointer from Lopez. That's just my own fucking thought on that one, just to see how a big, tall, white kid can knock down a three-point.
Lopez ain't exactly white.
Well, you get what
which is fine.
But he's a 7-footer.
He's a 7-footer.
You get what I'm laying down. So it's just awesome to see the maturity. And also, we're not talking about Aaron Rodgers right now. So if there's anything that the state of Wisconsin wants to root for right now, we have the Bucks. And I'm sorry, I'm not going to throw out the Badgers. We didn't get an NCAA basketball, but we got Marquette. So at least
we've got Marquette.
We got some good ball going forward.
Well, and it's not just Marquette. We've also got, let's see, there was another.
Milwaukee?
Yes, I think there's.
Milwaukee, I believe.
Yeah, and there's, let's see, who else is playing good ball? I had some college basketball lines up earlier today. There weren't like a ton of really big games that I saw, but there was one that did stick out a little bit, and I just want to bring it up if I can, because I felt like it was a team here from Wisconsin that I was surprised was as good as they were.
Milwaukee or Green Bay would be my only guess, brother, as you're looking for it. There's no XFL tonight, so there's nothing really going on a Thursday night.
There is no XFL. Are we sad about that?
I just think people want something to watch. It's a Thursday night, so people want to bet on things. People want to enjoy a game. People just want to watch something on TV, and unfortunately, it's that time of year, Dave, where we've
got NBA. There's big stuff on.
Yes, I guess, but people still love their football, I guess.
Well, sure, but I mean, for Christ's sakes, we can take a couple of days off. We'll get the XFL back here pretty soon. It's Milwaukee, the Milwaukee Panthers. Yep. They're taking on the Wright State Raiders tonight. The Panthers are 20-10 on the season right now.
And I can't remember because Marquette's in the Big East, and I don't remember what conference Milwaukee's in. But
Milwaukee's in the Horizon League, and this is already their conference championship. So this is the quarterfinals tonight. So this is starting off.
Yeah, for the NCAA.
Well, yeah, I mean, if
they win it.
Yeah, if they win it. Yep. It's an automatic qualifier.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. One thing, guys and gals, we didn't get to this morning, we'll kind of just let linger out there. And if you want, Matt, we could take it in overtime. But as a matter of fact, we got work to do because we're opening up the bar today at 11. Ice Cube getting completely dissed. Top 20 rapper by Rolling Stone. They've got Ice Cube at number 18. Yesterday we were talking about Ice Cube top 5 songs. And this is one of those things when I think about Ice Cube in respect to the all-time greatest list, I think is a complete undervaluation of his impact. Because one thing that you have to realize is this: when rap was especially early, 70s, 80s, it was a party sort of a rap. Ice Cube completely changed the way that guys rapped. Like Ice Cube had a certain narration style, hard attacking microphone style that hadn't really been heard before. And that really and truly,
hear his voice in my head right now, right?
Dude, so can I. Yeah. That was really and truly the reason NWA stuck out so much. I mean, Eazy-E wasn't a good rapper. Dr. Dre had great beats. You had MC Ren, you had the Doc, the DOC, but it was Ice Cube's lyrical attack approach that really set the entire world, and especially the rap world, on its side. So when I see Ice Cube at number 18, I think this is bad reporting by Rolling Stone. Ice Cube, of course, when asked about this by TMZ Hip Hop, said, who? When asked about this list, he said, who? He says, I don't fuck with Billboard or the editor. Billboard ain't hip hop, so their opinion don't matter. Who gives a fuck? I guess it was Billboard's top 50. If I said Rolling Stone, I apologize. Billboard's top 50. He says
shit anyways. Whoever
it doesn't. Who gives a fuck? He says it's an irrelevant list. Ice Cube goes on to say it's like assholes. Everyone's got one, and they all stink. He goes on to say this finally to TMZ Hip Hop. There ain't 50 rappers dead, alive, or waiting to be born better than me. Okay, and I sort of agree with that particular take. Ice Cube is a legend. This was a crazy list, and just because yesterday we were talking about Ice Cube and potentially his top 5 songs. I thought we had to bring this up. So who knows? Maybe we'll get into more of this on Friday. Joining us on the program tomorrow, going to be Kyle Cable from One Trust Real Estate and former Eagles player, by the way. So it should be a fun show. Hey, don't forget, come down and see us for lunch today starting at 11. We've got Euros, spicy and traditional, your choice aside as well. And we've got the famous prime rib sandwich. So come on down, see us. It's a great day. It's going to be warm outside, at least for Western Wisconsin, which means you've got no excuses. Leave the office, leave the house, come see us. We'll see you tomorrow.